Annyeonghaseyo! Welcome to Afternoona Delight, where Leah, Megan, and Amy, romance novelists and your K-romance guides. So grab some dekboki and listen to your new favorite unnies.
Hey everybody, it's Leah Riley.
Hello, it's Megan.
Hi there, it's Amy.
So today is a fun day because we're trying something new. We are trying video, which we've been talking about for like 2 years, maybe longer. It's been a long time of us being like, let's do video, and then just like not taking the steps. So finally, we're using a new program tonight. I'm pretty excited about it. I know Amy and Leah are excited about it too. So I hope it works. I hope we look okay. This is kind of a test run. Okay. Will we eventually get better backgrounds? Maybe. Will we get better lighting? Yeah, just bear with us. Either way, you get to see our faces, put a name to the face. Because I know a lot of listeners, if they've met us in person, that's what they've said they really enjoy, being able to. And when they come on our lives, our Patreon lives, they enjoy seeing our faces. So we'll have links. You can watch video on Spotify. Finally upload video to YouTube because right now it's just been 4 years of just audio with our logo, right?
That's it. And the title.
For anyone who listens to us on YouTube, you're the strongest soldiers.
You get captions if you want on YouTube.
Good point.
So if you need it transcribed, if you want, us transcribed, that's the place to go for it. So I think that's the big bonus. And that's why I try to keep current on the YouTube.
I was today years old when I knew that occurred. I did not know that until this moment.
Yeah,
they
they have
just auto
automatic
captions. Yeah,
auto
that's
captions.
great.
I mean, who knows how? I would like to know how they're captioning.
Who knows what
some
else
of the
is going on in our podcast? I'm excited to find out.
But really, how's it captioning like the Korean names we're saying? It's probably pretty jacked
Very
up.
poorly.
So anyway, yeah, that's the news. And in other news, Amy, what did you do last night?
So last night, as we're recording this right now, it is July 9th. That won't be when this airs, obviously, but I was at the Rose in Chicago last night. And they were fantastic, as always. But what was different about this is my third time seeing the Rose. And what was different about this experience is that I went with two of my local friends who are not part of the K-pop community at all. And I asked if they wanted to go, and they said yes. So we went to the show, and they had a good time, and I actually recorded a little snack with them for the Patreon. So you'll get to hear their reactions to it and stuff like that on our Patreon. But one of the things that I asked them, because I heard them talking about it while we were there. So there's a point in the show where Usung asked all like the dads in the audience to raise their hand, like who's a dad out there whose kid dragged them to this, and who's like, I don't want to watch, these four guys up there sing and dance or whatever. And he was joking about how all the dads come to the shows not wanting to be there, and then they leave being, a Black Rose, being a Rose fan. And my friends Minnie and Tracy said, it's kind of like we're here with our teenage daughter because of the way that I was behaving. Like as soon as they came out, like the lights aren't even up, you can just see them coming from backstage. You see bodies moving, and I'm just like already losing my shit and like screaming, and rightfully so. But yeah, so they thought it was like being there with their teenage daughter, and I thought that was funny. And we're like an hour and a half outside the city, and with traffic, it's like 2 hours. And so we were planning on taking the train, but we had terrible rain yesterday. So my friend Mindy offered to drive, which is great. Parking garage was 2 blocks from the theater. And as we are pouring out of the theater, everybody's phones start blowing up with flash flood warning.
I knew it. I was like, oh no, I can like hear the
Flash
sound
flood
in my head. Yeah.
Yep, flash flood warning. So we had to run back to the parking garage in torrential downpour, and I just started singing She's in the Rain, and it was perfect.
You needed Byung-woo-suk to come find you with an umbrella.
And
hold it over your...
any K-drama hero to come find me with an umbrella and stand over me, and his shoulders getting wet, and I'm finally drying off.
Right.
It's
He's getting
like
soaked, his back.
that is the extra part of that K-drama cliche is not just the umbrella, but you have to see the camera zoom in on the hero's shoulder getting soaked because he's tilting the umbrella over the heroine. Anyway,
Uh,
it was a great show. Woo-sung was sick and losing his voice, and he still played the whole show and was so awesome. So, yeah, it was a great show, but it was really fun to bring people in my everyday life because I feel like I have multiple identities, and even though they know that I listen to K-pop and they know that I watch K-dramas, and actually my friend Tracy watches K-dramas too, but just not like we do. Um, it was very fun to sort of merge those 2 parts of my life because I definitely feel like I have a split personality sometimes, and to be there and to be acting like a teenager is so much fun for me, and to have them sort of, tease me about it, but embrace it, it was really fun.
I also think that's cool they went with you.
Mhm.
That's like
Yes,
good friends.
they are. They're very good
Um,
friends.
and we're all going to more concerts. Well, Leah's been to like 5,000 concerts already this year.
Just BTS though.
Well, I know, but it's been a lot. But
I know.
okay, so Leah, what else are you going to this year so far?
Not much actually. So
Okay.
I'm going to let's see. I'm going to Jin next week in Anaheim, BTS. And then you know what? I had one of our friends that I've made through the podcast reached out into a group chat I'm in and was like, I have Lady Gaga tickets. I don't like my daughter can't come. I think I'm gonna sell them at face value. Does anyone want them before I like put them out into the public? And I was like, I mean, I've had FOMO that I didn't get the tickets when they came out. And so I was
Oh.
like, I'm gonna do it. And so I did it. It's in LA, so I need to fly down. So I had to also inform my husband. I'm flying to Anaheim. I just got back from Korea. I'm flying to Anaheim next weekend to go see Jin. And then I'm going to San Diego to see my brother. And then the following week, I will be flying to LA to see Lady Gaga. And he was like, well, isn't this the summer of Leah? And I was like, you know what? Like, I
Whatever, that man
do.
is always somewhere, like, halfway across the world, like
Right.
He is. And I mean, I get it. Like, I did have a little bit of like, he was like, are you going to bring anyone? And so I think I might bring my son to LA with me, not to go to Gaga, but to like then come because he hasn't really like hung out in the city before. And I think he'd like it. He's a skateboard kid. I'm like, let's go. I'll like take you to some of the like iconic skate park. Like, you'll need to know them. I don't know them, but like, I can take you down and we can do that. And then we'll see. I'm really, for me, I'm locked in and saving money for just all the future BTS stuff coming. But because it has been the summer of Leah, my youngest really does like TXT. I'd taken her to TXT before. And so they just announced a tour. So I might take her to be just because they're going to be local. And then I'm taking my son to Younglean, who is a Swedish, I believe. I don't really know the lore, but my son's very excited about it. And it's like, I believe it might be Swedish rap. I'm not sure, but I have a ticket. So we're gonna be doing that as well.
But you're supporting his interest.
Yeah, he's very excited about it. And it was like gonna be a late show. Normally I would just be fine to drop him off in San Francisco and like go hang out and then come back and get him. But this felt late and kind of in like a part of time. I was just like, you know what? Fuck it, I'll just come and experience whatever Young Lean has to offer. So if you're a Young Lean fan and I need to know more, you let me know.
Yeah, so I am going to see ATs in a week, like a week as of today. Today is July 9th. Yeah, like Amy said, I'm so pumped. I haven't seen them since 2022. I was actually looking back and I saw them
it's really
twice
been
in
that
20.
long?
Yes.
Yeah, because you didn't go to the last tour.
Yeah, so they just had a tour in like 2024 and I didn't go. So they didn't tour at least in America in 2023 because they toured twice in 2022. I went in January and November. I don't know why they do like these back-to-back tours. And then I didn't go the last tour, which I kind of do regret, but that's the movie that they had in theaters was like a movie of the last tour. So then I went to see it in theaters and I was like, well, that's pretty freaking cool. So at least I sort of feel like I was there. So yeah, I'm going next Wednesday. I'm so freaking pumped. I can't stand it. Like I'm so excited. And then my daughter just asked me for Cat's Eye tickets in November, and I think I'm gonna try really hard to get them. I think they're in around me, so I live in Pennsylvania, so they're in New York City and DC. DC's closer, so I'll probably try to go to their DC show. I look gnarly live. might change my life, really. So,
I wanna say
uh,
that Gnarly, the trajectory of Gnarly for that you and I went on, from
yeah,
when we first heard it to where we ended up,
I
is
hated it.
astonishing.
I
I was like, "What is this shit?" And
absolute
then
garbage.
yeah, to being like, "Hang on, do I just, like is this an earworm for me?" To being like, I will kill people." Like, no,
Same.
I love it.
Same, I'll die on the hill of gnarly. It's so funny because I remember Leah sent it to me and I was furious because I really liked Cat's Eye and I was
Mm.
furious. I was like, "This is garbage. I can't even listen to the whole thing." And the way it, like, grew on me was wild.
And when it first came out, the members were like, "Just give it some time. You're not gonna like it, then you're gonna like it." And I was like, "Honestly, fine, Cat's Eye, you got me. Like, loyal customer now. Like, they're cool. I'm not gonna, like, probably hard stand them, but I think they're cool. I like what they did." And also, I just also wanna speak to the fact that, like, we do engage with listeners quite a bit. We're out and about seeing stuff, doing stuff, and so we kind of have been meeting more people that, have listened to the podcast. And something that has been really fun has been meeting more people who have been going to shows and maybe haven't gone to see music in a long time, or maybe, haven't gone with other people and are like, "What would it be like to go by myself?" If you're questioning and you're on the fence being like, "I'd like to do that. I don't really have anyone around me to go with. I don't really know what that would feel like to go to something by myself." I'm just gonna say do it. Just try it. Just do it. I think it's 2025. My challenge to you is, if you're debating it and you're like, "I don't know. I don't really like to do stuff by myself." Go to a concert by yourself.
Mhm,
Like,
mhm.
and I think that you might be pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, I agree, and, I feel like K-pop especially is so welcoming of, like, solo, fans. What I've gone to ATs now twice, and the amount of solo fans that I see, and they, like, sit down and they're like, "Hey, I'm just here alone," and I'm like, "No way." By the end, you're like, first of all, you've made a friend, and I can tell, like, the enjoyment the atmosphere, you feel like you're just, you're one person. Like, the crowd is just you just feel a part of the whole thing, you don't feel alone. I think that's one of the best parts about the concert experience that I've had so far with K-pop.
It was one of the really fun things for me to be able to show my friends last night. So what was a little weird about this particular concert, so the last time 2 times I've seen The Rose, it's been at a general admission venue, so you line up because you wanna get a good
Mhm.
seat, right? This was the Chicago Theater. Everyone had a chair. This is not normally like a concert venue type place. Like,
Mm.
the last thing that I saw at the Chicago Theater was Steve Martin and Martin Short, like, doing their doing their show. So,
Right.
it's a theater type situation, so it was really interesting. So we went out to dinner close to the theater, and we weren't rushing because, like, I knew we were gonna just walk in.
Mhm.
And I had all my little freebies to give away, and I was worried that they were gonna get taken at the door because there weren't people, like, waiting outside for me to give stuff away to. But no, everybody inside had big, huge bags of stuff to give away. It was
Aw.
fantastic. They didn't take anything away from us. And I am a total introvert, and I'm there with my 2 friends, so I'm, obviously feeling comfortable, but I'm an introvert. But, like, there's something that happens when you're at a K-pop type of show that you don't feel that introversion like you would normally. And I'm just going up to strangers and tossing little goodie bags at them and taking theirs. And even, like, when we got to our seats, because it was weird because, again, there weren't people just, like, milling about too much unless they were getting merch. We went and found our seats, and we were in a shortened row, and there were 2 other women sitting next to us, and like, in their 20s. I said hi to them, gave them freebies, asked where they were from, found out they were from Milwaukee. I said, "Oh, my daughter goes to UWM." And the girl next to me was like, "That's where I graduated from." And then I spun around to the other rows because I still had stuff in my purse. And I'm like, "Who wants stuff?" And I'm just tossing stuff to people. And like, my friends got so into it. They're like, "We're going to go back out front. We're going to go back to the lobby. We want to just people watch." Because they just thought it was so cool. It's just such a different
Yeah,
kind of atmosphere. I haven't gone to
it
a
really
concert
is.
by myself yet. The opportunity just hasn't presented itself, but I'm halfway considering, to see if I can still get tickets for ATs because
Yeah. Well,
because
And I think part
now
of where you're not gonna ever have to really walk alone is you live so close to Rosemont, and I'm just gonna say it, Rosemont's a sweet arena. Like, if you
I
also,
love
like,
it.
trying to
Getting there
figure out
is
where to go.
easy. Yeah, absolutely. So I I get very stressed out driving all the way into the city of Chicago because traffic is always terrible. It always takes twice as long to get there. And then driving on the streets of Chicago is very different than driving on the streets of the suburbs, and people are just a-holes. And I don't
Mhm.
like being an a-hole driver, and I get very nervous. Anyway, and parking's so expensive.
Mhm.
Allstate Arena, which is in Rosemont, which is considered Chicago, but it's like the
It's the
suburbs.
airport. It's the
Yeah,
airport.
it's the airport. And it's so easy to get there. It's so easy to get cheaper parking with Spot Hero outside of the arena. It's and it's a great arena because it's like the perfect size where no matter where you sit, it's a good seat.
Is that where
Phenomenal.
ATEEZ is playing, or where are they playing?
No, I think AT's is at Wrigley Field.
That's what I thought. I was like, I'm pretty sure
Yeah,
they're at
which is
Wrigley.
all the way in the city and
I
a
would
pain in the ass.
say this concert, more than many others, is very Saja Boys like. Very, very your
Nobody has
idol.
said anything about my t-shirt yet, by the way.
I love your t-shirt. And actually, let me do the segue. I have a segue question. What song from The Rose do you think could seal the Hanmoon?
From the Rose?
Yeah.
Could seal the honeymoon.
Mm-hmm.
Heal.
Ooh,
Cure.
okay.
Wait, no,
Well,
Cure. Cure. It's called Cure, isn't it? I think it's
I
called
have
Cure.
heard that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Heal is the album, Cure is the song. There's many. There's
Yeah.
many. But they
But
have a new one.
Cure's the song.
Yeah, Cure is the song, Heal is the album. The whole album, Heal, could seal a honeymoon. Cure is the song from that album. Yeah. Which they didn't
Yeah,
sing
I mean,
they did not sing that last night. That was I mean,
oh,
they did stuff from like all of their albums last night, which I loved. But there were, a couple songs that were left off the list that I missed, and that's one of them.
yeah, that was I would also love to see them. What really bums me out is that the Rose is playing near me the exact same night as ATEEZ. And I was really mad because I was like, I really, really wanted to go see the Rose, but it is what it is. I will go see them I know I'm gonna get there someday. I'm
Okay,
sure they'll tour again.
I'm also totally lying. They did sing Cure last night.
Oh, it's okay.
I'm totally
It's
lying.
hard to remember.
It is hard to remember because we were listening to it on the way there, and I'm like, wait, no, I remember singing it. So they did. They did. You guys, I was up until 3 a.m. working on the script. I am
Right.
It's okay. I don't
losing
think
my
the
mind
Rose
today.
is going to write you a well actually letter.
Yeah, they're not.
No, Woo-sung got pissed at us last night because we weren't loud at first because it was such a weird venue. Like people were sitting for the first like several songs.
Yeah, that's
And I was
it.
like,
I'm
I'm like,
venue that's weird.
we can't stay like this. So,
Uh-huh.
and especially because he was losing his voice, so he's like, you all sing it for some of the songs. And yeah, so he gave us shit for not being loud enough, and then it was very loud. But I don't want him to think that I thought he didn't sing the song because he did.
Okay.
So
You,
there.
you definitely did,
Definitely.
baby. You warbled it like a songbird.
I did.
He'll
It's
definitely be
probably-
listening.
Yeah.
To us.
All right. Well, what are we
Yeah.
here to talk about tonight?
Yeah, segue.
Well,
You
that
did
was
it.
my segue.
That was your segue. Sorry.
Yeah, that was my segue.
Sorry, I was waiting for somebody to mention my Saja Boys shirt, but
I
nobody
love
did.
your Saja Boy shirt.
thank
I thought
you.
maybe you'd wear your Huntrix hat.
I have my Huntrix hat right here, but
Oh, I love it.
I was afraid that if I wore it, I wouldn't be able to see my screen because it also would have made a
Right.
shadow on my face. Like we're trying it with
would've.
lighting, you guys. So
Right.
yeah. So
I'm wearing my AT shirt actually.
I have to start by saying that I feel like this is the most excited I've ever been for one of our podcasts.
Even more than Goblin.
I knew you were going to ask that, and I think
Oh,
I think yes, because
wow.
I mean it's been many years since Goblin, so I can't say that for sure, but
Right.
I have been thinking about this all week, like that we get to talk about this movie tonight. So yeah, I mean, not like we're the only people talking about K-pop Demon Hunters, but tonight we are going to be talking about it, or today, whenever you are listening to us. It's night for us right now. But we're
Mhm.
talking about K-pop Demon Hunters, the Netflix movie that dropped on June 20th. I want to start by saying, like, spoiler warning, because it's a movie. It's barely over 90 minutes, so there's not really much to talk about without spoiling. So we're going to give some overview stuff, but then we're going to get right to it. So if you have somehow been living off the grid and don't know anything about K-pop Demon Hunters yet, we're going to give you the gist and then we're just going to dive into it. So I've got
Right.
kind of a list. I've got kind of a list of bullet points here that, maybe we can share reading through.
Sure.
So I'll start with, so this is Netflix's one sentence logline for K-pop Demon Hunters. A world-renowned K-pop girl group balances their lives in the spotlight with their secret identities as demon hunters.
The movie is produced by Sony Pictures Animation, most recently known for the Into the Spider-Verse movies, directed by Maggie Kong and Chris Applehans. I'm not quite sure if I'm pronouncing that right.
I really want this to center on the two of you tonight. This is about the two of you. So it has a 95% positive rating on Rotten Tomatoes, and it's been in Netflix's top 10 since it debuted on June 20th. But really, this is for the two of you tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This week's Billboard Global 200 list has Golden, a song by Huntrix, at number 2, and Your Idol, a song by the Saja Boys, at number 10.
According to Screen Rant, Your Idol hit number 2 on Spotify on July 1st, making it the highest charting track by a K-pop boy group ever, surpassing BTS's Dynamite.
And Huntrix's Golden is at number 3, tying Blackpink for highest charting song by a K-pop girl group.
And Netflix announced this week that it will be submitting Golden for consideration for Best Original Song for the Academy Awards, which would make Kim Eun-jae, also known as EJ, who co-wrote the song with Mark Sonnenblick, and who is also Rumi's singing voice, the second songwriter of Korean descent to receive a Best Original Song nod. The only other one is Karen Oh, who was nominated for writing the Moon song with Spike Jonze for the movie Her.
Needless to say, this has all happened in literally 20 days since the movie quietly dropped on Netflix with no big announcement, no fanfare, nada. 20 days and the 9 years the movie was in development. So because there is so much talent involved in the movie, let's lay it out. I want to lay it all out right now because I don't want to have to keep mentioning everybody's name every time we talk about a character. So the voice actors, so the people who do the speaking voices for the characters, are Arden Cho as Rumi, Mei Hong as Mira, Ji Young Yu as Zoe, An Yo Sup as Jinu, Lee Byung Hyun as Guima, Ken Jeong as Bobby, Sungwon Cho as Abby or Abs, Saja, Joel Kim Booster as Romance Saja, Daniel Day Kim as Healer Han, and Yeonjin Kim as Celine. Musical voices are EJ as Rumi, Audrey Nuna as Mira, Ray Ami as Zoe, Andrew Choi as Jinu, Danny Chung as Baby Saja, Kevin Wu as Mystery Saja, Samuel Lee as Romance Saja, and Neckwave as Abs or Abby Saja. So, I want to start with first impressions. When did you first hear about the movie, and did you initially want to watch it before the buzz quickly took over social media?
Yeah, I've been thinking about this a lot because when I first heard K-pop Demon Hunters, I was like, absolutely, that's not for me. I thought it was going to be like a Scooby-Doo cartoon.
Yes, I thought it was a show. I thought it was a kid's show.
I thought it was a kid's show, which is totally fine. Like, if you want to make a
Absolutely.
K-pop Demon Hunters for kids, but that's what I thought it was. I thought it was going to be like watching Scooby-Doo, and I don't want to watch Scooby-Doo. So that's why I had no interest. Like, joke's on me for not like doing even a modicum of research. Because you think I'm kind of a target audience for this movie. Like, if it would have been sold to me as like the truth of what it was, I would have been like, hell yeah, like sign me up. But I just heard the title, saw like a tiny like some clips, and was like, oh, it's just like, yeah, it's not for me. It's not for me. And then the social media buzz was happening. like it took over. Like my algorithm was just like full of K-pop demon hunters. And some of our we have a Patreon. Some of our Patreon members were like, "Hey, I watched it and it's really freaking cool. Like I liked it." And I'm thinking, "Okay, well, now I have FOMO. Like I get FOMO. I know like Leah's like, I don't get FOMO. I do. Okay? If everyone else is watching it, I'm like, well, sometimes I get stubborn about it and then I don't want to, but I definitely had FOMO. So I watched it with my daughter. Uh and well, we can get to that
Did
in
you
a
watch
future.
it
But
first then?
so
She
I watched
did.
it first. I watched it first. And I literally succumbed to peer pressure. So and I also say I watched it before it hit like the peak of the like craze. Okay. It was
You
like,
were a hipster. You liked it before. You liked it in the 2 days before it was cool.
well, no. It was already cool. Like, no, I can't say that at all, actually. There were like I
I'm
had to
kidding.
hear
I'm
from other
kidding.
I had to hear from other people for sure. But I just mean like I was sort of like I watched it as it was like steadily climbing and then I like understood why. And well, then I told Amy to watch it.
Well, I was gonna say, I know when you watched it, because I know when I watched it, because I log my movies on an app. So I watched
Oh,
it on June 24th, and that is when you had mentioned it, because you mentioned it the same day that my friend Christina, who I work with at the library, mentioned it to me, and she doesn't watch any K-drama, any K anything, and she watched this movie and is like, "It is the best thing. The soundtrack is the best thing I've ever heard. I can't stop listening
right.
to it." And then I had logged on to Slack and you were talking about it. So literally, so I had worked at the library that night until 9 o'clock, and I usually go home and I just pass out. I got home and Sydney was out playing trivia. Like she was at a restaurant doing bar trivia. And I was like, "You need to stay up when you get home," because I had FOMO, and I'm like, "I need to watch this right now." And she came home and she's like, "I'm so tired." I'm like, "No, no, no. It's less than an hour and 45 minutes. We
It's
need
a
to watch
short
this right
movie.
now." And we did.
Right. Right. And Leah, did you have any FOMO at all?
No, not. But I also am going to be really fully disclosing that, like, again, this isn't me. Like, throughout this entire thing, I'm going to say, like, I'm not too cool for this. It's that I was in Seoul. I wasn't on TV stuff. Like, I was like deep doing like what I was doing. And so I really just wasn't hearing it at all. And then all of a sudden, you two just kind of like were like chitter chattering about like words I didn't know, like Huntrix and buying Huntrix stuff. And I was just like, you know what? Because I don't get FOMO, I was like, I don't know what they're talking about, and I don't particularly care. So like I'm just gonna keep living my life. I'm not like worried about it. Like I wasn't like
Right.
put off. I just was like, something's happening that they're really excited about. And I wasn't interested at all.
Right. Right. True. True. We were
Until I got back, I was like on my way back, and you said, we're gonna do a podcast on this and you have to watch it.
we did.
And I was like, okay. And then when I found out it was a movie, I'm like, fine, no worries. A movie, like I can do anything for an hour and 20 minutes, you know? So
Right.
so I didn't have like a no. I was just like, oh, I had like a relief. I'm like, oh, okay, this is a movie. Like, great.
Yeah, I wouldn't have asked you. I wouldn't have said, "Oh my god, you I did it cuz it was a movie." I was like, "You can watch this movie with your kids." That's
And
kind of
so
why I was like,
then,
And I never would have forced you, like, if you
no,
didn't
okay,
want
well,
to.
first, again, well,
I would have.
you would have. I mean, like, come
I
on.
would
I
have.
mean,
And
maybe
so,
for this.
I mean, like,
Maybe for this.
I force people to watch shit when I like really want to do it. So anyway, I was just like, so I got home. I hung out with, I'd been gone for 19 days. That's a long time, especially when you've got like a 9-year-old. And so my daughter was like, I watched this show. I really liked it. And I was like, great. Because honestly, she was like, will you watch it with me? In my mind, I was like, amazing. I love when I can like parent multitask and I can like do this thing and bond with my daughter. And I'm going to be able to like get a job done for the pod. Like, yes, yes. So I was like, yes, let's watch it tomorrow night. Then I get to work the next morning and I'm at my office 2 minutes before my boss is sending me the trailer to this, being like, have you heard this? And so again, this is where like I'm going to come at this like I am. First, let me just say, I'm not a hater of this at all. And I really enjoy when something like gets into like the zeitgeist and people get excited about it because of what it can like open doors up to and get people excited about. And then today, I'm just living my life at work. I get a text message from my sister-in-law. She's like, have you heard of this K-pop Demon Hunter movie? I was like, I'm actually doing a podcast on it tonight. And she's like,
You're like,
"Well."
"This thing is following me like a
Yeah,
shadow."
no, and that's good. I'm not saying it in a bad way. I'm saying this is
Right.
good. And so I was like, I have. And so I encouraged her. She hadn't seen it, and I was like, you should watch it with my niece and nephew, and like, let me know what you think. And so, so yeah, it's definitely being talked about lots of places. And the pushback I'm going to give is not against liking it. It's about, I have seen a little bit of pushback of people, not very much, but a little bit being like, I'm not interested in this and I'm not interested in engaging in this. And this isn't coming from like a white centric point of view. Because if it was that, it would even be more problematic. This is coming from like Asian fandom places being like, I'm not interested in this and like having reasons why. But honestly, to me, look, like what you want to like, watch what you want to like. I'm not really worried about it, but I do kind of get like a little bit of like a ooh when I see somebody be kind of like a fun killer because I'm like, if people are having fun with this and the communities that this is like, targeted and addressing and about are feeling seen and happy, I'm not going to come for this at all. Like, you know what I mean? So I was like,
Yeah.
I was kind of like, stop being too cool. Like, it's just not fun to be too cool. And my whole thing is like lately has been like, just get over like this cringe thing. Like, I feel like there was this element of like, oh my God, it'd be so cringe to like it.
Mhm.
And I am like done with cringe stuff. So
Same.
again, I do not have a Saja Boys shirt. I don't plan on getting one. And I'm really appreciative. So there's like, and so for me, there's like, we'll talk about it more. But I am happy that it's popular. I'm happy people are happy with it. And I certainly don't feel too cool for the material, if that makes sense.
Right, right. No, I
That
love
kinda
that,
brings
thank you.
me I was gonna say that kinda brings me to my next question is why do you think this movie was able to, like, so quickly reach beyond those who were already in love with K-pop and K-dramas? Because that's what was so wild to me was that even before I had logged on to Slack that night and saw Megan talking about it, it was my friend Christina at work who is not part of this world at all and is all of a sudden like, I can't stop listening to the soundtrack. This was such a good movie. We're looking at merch together now. Like, why do you think it has had that reach?
I can jump in on this because
Yeah,
it's
go ahead.
2025. And I think that this is hitting at a point, especially like because I think this is being led in large part by the US. Definitely, I haven't like looked elsewhere, but it's popular in the US. Why do I think it's getting so popular? Because we are living in the horrors. And here's the show that comes in and it feels, especially if you haven't engaged with a lot of like, K-dramas or K-pop, like it feels different enough that it's like, oh, this is like I'm kind of curious. It's also visually like candy. Like it's
Mhm.
cute and adorable. Like the tiger is like, I mean, I feel like it was, and I don't mean this in a bad way, like almost like genetically designed to be like when I watched this, I was like, I feel like this was how would this not have been a viral hit? Like this is made to be like the music is an earworm. And I'm not saying this because it's disingenuous at all. I'm saying that like it doesn't surprise me because I feel like the music is really hooky. The visuals are really cute. The story is good people having hardship and winning. And I'm like, look, and it's sufficiently kind of like outside the norm of what you would normally see. Like, you know what I mean? Like the story, the context, the vibes are all just a little bit different. So it's very familiar, but the setting feels different. And then when I became a BTS fan, like I think maybe what happened, like I guess I just want to like be personal in this, is that like when I became a real like the night I became ARMY is when I went to when I went to SoFi Stadium and it was post COVID, like still in COVID, like the end of COVID, and being in a stadium with 50,000 people and all of a sudden being like, I felt like it just like broke something open in me that night. And so I almost wonder if like you're home on your couch though, and you're having a similar experience of like, no, you're not in this collective stadium with 50,000 people. But what happens in these shows and like where you see like the energy of the audience, you're kind of tapping into some part of that, even if you're just at home on your couch. And then to have it start to get popular, you're almost building that collective cultural, like, because then it starts to get popular, it starts to get hyped, and all of a sudden you're part of something and you're talking about something, and it's not Donald Trump fucking everything up. It's this music that's fun, this show that's fun. What could come next that's fun? And all of a sudden you're having these shared humanistic experiences with people that's rooted in like fun and joy and happiness and not garbage and doom and fascism.
I like yeah, like, couldn't say it better. That's exactly it. Like, it's like for an hour and however long this movie was, I was so fucking happy. I wasn't thinking about what's happening. I was just enjoying the, like, beauty of the movie. I was enjoying the message. And it's crazy because this movie had a way of making me feel a part of something. Even I mean, I watched it with my daughter. My daughter's 12. And it made me feel like I was a part of something just like it's same, like, on my couch. And I also, like, be a little bit beyond this question, but I really think this movie has layers, and I think that's why it's really universally loved. Because I think on the surface, first of all, the music, I also thought the music was gonna be bad. I will be honest with you, when I heard K-pop Demon Hunters, I was like, "It's gonna be terrible music," because I didn't look into it, and I didn't realize that it's, like, created by Korean Americans, most of them. It's people in the K-pop industry who are doing this. Like, I didn't look into it. Shame on me. So on the surface, like you said, it's beautiful. The message is universal. It's about fandoms, it's about belonging, it's about being who you want to be, it's about not having shame. And then there's another layer. So I liked it just on the surface layer. And then there's another layer that's like the K-drama K-pop fan in me. So I'm
Mhm.
recognizing the K-drama cliches in K-pop Demon Hunter. Which there's scenes where it kind of turns it on its head. Like, you think he bumps into her, she falls. The cliche would be he grabs her and saves her from falling. But they turn it on its head and he lets her fall, and then he just, like, brushes his hair back. Like, I like that. So and then I also understood, like, they have light sticks. Like, it's all the K-pop fandom stuff that, like, I'm a part of. I participate in. So on that level too, I was like, "Oh my gosh," like, I do relate to that as well. And then I think there's a third level that I can't relate to, which was this movie was made for Koreans and Korean Americans, a Korean artist. And so that's like a third layer, where people are seeing themselves, um, and feeling, again, a part of it. And I think that that's probably why, like, it's just hit a chord. And also, again, like, it's just super happy in a time where we feel like we don't have a lot to be happy about.
Which is probably the reason why I watched it 3 times in a week.
You did. You're like, I'm watching K-pop Demon Hunters again. I'm like, you go, girl. Like, enjoy yourself.
But this is actually, so I don't want to like jump ahead of anything, but I think I'm starting to understand maybe why I enjoyed it but didn't go, because I would say that's like, if I'm going to be clear, just because I wasn't like as enthusiastic, like I did not go back and rewatch it. I haven't been tapped into it. But I think now, because I knew talking about this would make it more clear, and I feel like I'm getting why. But we can talk about that as the podcast goes on. I feel like I'm getting more clarity into it because I wasn't coming at it from a point where I was like, this didn't give me something.
And
No.
that was kind of my thought though, before we recorded, is because this has happened to me before with other, like, dramas that we've talked about too, where I feel differently about it, not necessarily like it more, but maybe appreciate it more after we discuss it, because hearing the way, you 2 might talk about it might
Mhm.
open me up to things that I wasn't thinking about before. And so that was my thought, because I was not, like, affronted that you didn't love it the way that I did, but in the back of my mind, I'm like, "But when we talk about it, I think she's gonna feel a little bit differently about it."
Well, here, I'll just lay out what I think it is maybe, and then we can continue it on.
Okay.
And so I would say that, and so again, isn't to dismiss, and so I also want to be really careful with the two you, like, I'm not dismissing like fandom experiences that you're having. Like, God, by God, like, look at, it's so nice to have a visual for anyone watching because I can be like, look at the back of like Megan's like shelves, or like, I mean, like, you're both heavily into fandoms. And so I would say though, for me right now, I think about like, where was I coming from in this exact moment in time versus like the two of you, because you also have to think about like, where does the lens of like your inner world and like emotions line up to like what's happening. And for
Mhm.
me, I'm in the middle of like BTS coming back from the military after 2 years. Again, I know both of you are fans, but I've been like, honestly, like, this is all I do. Like,
No,
all I
you
do is,
can't compare how much
Yeah.
you can't compare our level of BTS to yours. So
yeah. So I
don't
guess I
try to
just want to share
caveat.
for I'm trying to just not be like, it's all mine. That's all. But what I'm trying to
No.
say is like, I'm very full up in this. And
Mhm.
so in some ways I'm like, I don't have any other room. Like, not to say the door's closed, but I don't have a lot of other emotional needs to fill right now. Like, I am full up.
I get it.
And so
I get
even
it.
like being like, oh, I'll go listen to it. Like at some point, maybe I'll be stoked to listen to it. But I've been like very much like in this space and feeling like my emotional needs are all being met by like what I'm getting. That when I saw it, I was like, I enjoy it and I like it. I don't have anything like negative to say about it, but I'm also not like, I also don't have any other rabbit hole. Like my hyper focus, my switch is flipped and I have no interest. And so it's not no interest because this isn't a quality show. It's just I have no interest because like my entire focus is completely on this other thing that's adjacent to it. And
Mhm.
so I'm like happy about it, but I'm also not like, I'm just full, if that makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah.
No, this is actually clicking for me now. Because you had just come from Korea where you basically spent 3 weeks immersed in like BTS stuff. You
Yeah.
kind of did.
No,
So
fully.
you were not, yeah, you were. So your bucket was like overflowing, I think. And then you come back and watch this movie and you're like, okay,
Yeah.
like it's cool. But it didn't like, my bucket was not full.
My bucket was dry.
My bucket was low. Okay. It's low. And so that I think was why it hit Amy and I differently.
Yeah, I think
Because
this makes a lot of sense.
me too, because we did not have overflowing buckets. Like,
No, and I mean, like, yeah, and again, like being here, like if I'd been here for like, you know, a month of like the shit we are in all the time, I could have felt very different. But I was coming
Right.
back from like, yeah, my bucket couldn't have been more full, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I enjoyed it,
I
but I was like, I like it and I'm living like, I was like, that was fun and sweet. And like, I'm on to like, now I'm like, okay, I got to get back on like whatever my, like whatever I'm doing in like my like fandom space. And so I was like
Yeah.
fun. And now I'm back to business.
that's totally, it's clicking for me. And also, I will say too, when the movie ended, it was funny because I was watching with my daughter, and the movie ended, and I remember sitting a little in shock because I was like, was that great? Like, it was like, what did I just watch? And I remember my daughter at the time was like, okay, like it was cool. Like she's very into fandom. She loves ATs. She loves a lot of K-pop groups. So, and she was like, yeah, I liked it. And then I would say for me, my love almost increased in, I would say, what would be like the fandom of K-pop Demon Hunters. Okay.
Yeah.
Then it was indulging in the memes. It was connecting on
Yes.
threads with other people. So I would say for me too, it was then, it's kind of, is this like Inception? Because it was like engaging in the fandom of
Mhm.
K-pop Demon Hunters was then almost as good as the movie itself
It makes
for me.
perfect sense to me.
Yeah. And so I feel like that's important too. If you're like in the K-pop Demon Hunter algorithm on Instagram like I am, every meme fills my bucket. Every time I hit send to Amy on another stupid
the best
K-pop Demon Hunter meme,
It's the best
I'm
thing.
like, I'm happy.
But like it's that participation in something collectively good,
Mm-hmm.
right?
That's another
Because
thing. God.
because
it's like-
all I've been doing prior to K-pop Demon Hunters is doom scrolling when I'm on social media. And so
Yeah.
the fact that my algorithm has switched enough that I'm now being fed joy
Yeah.
is such a wild like 180 from what it was like just days before.
I think
Yeah,
that's
my
like one thing
algorithm
an
is
epiphany.
yeah, I feel like I've had an epiphany too over like our different sort of reactions.
Mm.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah, my algorithm is like the derpy tiger. It's fan art of Jinu. It's also, and I would say too, this is then my fandom. ATs has been mentioned heavily in regards to the Your Idol song because a lot of people are like, "What's a song like Your Idol?" And I was like, what's his name in Hometown Cha Cha Cha? When he's like, he like unrolls his
And
certificates.
he's got all the different
That's like me with the AT songs that sound like Your Idol. That's me all over the internet right now. I'm like, oh, you want a list? You want a list? I will give you a list of songs that are like Your Idol. So that's another thing too, is now I'm starting to feel a little bit even more fulfilled in my ATs fandom in relation to K-pop Demon Hunters. So like we all come at it differently. Like I'm sure you enjoyed yourself for 2 hours when you
For
watch the
sure.
movie.
But
You
I will
got some
also
fun.
say that I haven't, so again, like even before this, like I would say I'm so immersed in like my fan, like again, like I'm just
Right.
hyper fixated at all times. Like I'm on fan Twitter, I'm on group chats. Like I'm doing this like 24/7 for the most part, that
Yeah.
like I don't doom scroll. Like I doom scroll very, very rarely. Like I wake
Right.
up, and I was telling somebody like this today. I was like, I wake up and the first thing I do is go, what did BTS do in the last 5 hours that I was sleeping? I don't look to see what Donald Trump did in the last 5. I'm
Yeah.
like, I don't give a fuck. Like, I mean, I
Don't
do. I
give a
care
fuck.
because, like, I care about collective impact and being a good citizen. It's not gonna be the first thing I do in the morning. Never.
Right.
I don't look at the, like, the news until, like, midday. And so I feel like I'm in this, like, incredibly healthy place with, like, managing that. And again, not saying that because of, like, wanting to say, "Oh, I'm, like, unable to be impacted." Like, I understand that I have an obligation as a citizen to not just like check out and just be like, yay, I just do fun. But I also have an obligation to myself to be able to like manage that in a healthy way. And so like lunchtime, I'm like, lunchtime is a great time for me to check in and like read some selected articles and feel like I'm filled up today with my like level of rage and trying to decide like what lawmaker am I going to call? What am I going to do? What am I going to care about?
Right.
And so I think that this really makes a huge, because if you were saying you were both doom scrolling, like I don't doom scroll. And again, not because I'm like better. It's just like I have this other, like this is what I do.
Hmm. No, that I mean, now I don't doom scroll now because
Yeah.
I'm
Cause you're
watching
like, I
K-pop
have this
Demon
thing I'm
Hunters.
super stoked about. Like if you looked at my algorithm, I've got 0 K-pop Demon Hunter coming through,
Oh, okay.
but I have 99.9% BTS on every algorithm. Like I've trained all my algorithms.
Yeah, yeah. Mean, I will say it's not all I do, but I'm usually pretty good with a balance, but my bucket was still not like it needed a refresh. It
Mhm.
needed to be mucked out. Like and K-pop Demon Hunters just clean that puppy out like pressure washer, okay? Like
Totally.
and then it's just still flowing. It's
Yeah.
flowing every day.
It was 100%, it was 100% what I needed and
Right.
what I still need. Like
And thank
the
God
3
that we get, I
times that
mean,
I
like,
watched it will
honestly,
not be the only 3 times I watch it.
I'm just so glad that this has happened and that it's happening for so many people because
Same.
we need these things. Like we need them so much.
Yeah, and I would say too, like seeing people get so much joy out of it. They're like, and there's even like memes who are like, people are like, I'm so depressed, and then it's like, nope, I'm gonna play Golden, like I'm gonna play the song, and then I'm not unhappy anymore, and it's like, yeah, like that's freaking. I mean, however you can find it, and then of course, like it's beautiful because they're playing like a gorgeous song that's about like being proud of who you are and stuff like that. So I'm just like, good, like it's so wholesome, you know.
Mhm.
Um, and then it's also just, it is amazing that these people worked on this movie for 9 years. Netflix did zero promo. 0 promo.
0.
Like, no one knew about this, and then all of a sudden it just, like,
And now it's
took
like
over.
Squid Game who? Like I felt like
Yeah.
everything was gonna be like Squid Game is gonna bring it home like for June. And I felt like I got back and I'm like, Squid Game, everyone was like, what? No, we're talking K-pop Demon Hunt.
No, no one was talking about Squid Game. I mean, you know, look, I watched, like, the top 2 things on Netflix. Well, it was Squid Game, and then I watched Poop Cruise, and I watched K-pop Demon Hunters.
Wait, what?
Oh, you gotta watch Poop Cruise on Netflix. You have got to watch Poop Cruise. It's an
Oop,
hour
like oop?
poop, like Dookie. It's an hour
Like, do they dump it
documentary.
into the ocean?
No, it's about this cruise that
Oh,
basically, like, stopped working, like, this cruise ship just, like, caught on fire, and then everything stopped working, and so these people were stuck on basically just, like,
toilet.
a floating non-working ship, and, the toilets didn't work, and things started overflowing, and it was like a poop cruise. It's insane. You have to watch it.
No, I don't. That will
That
not
feels like
fill
the
my
waters I'm
bucket.
trying to get away from.
Yeah,
So
that will
see,
not
do
fill
you
my bucket with what
understand
I
now?
want. That's not what I
Well,
want in my bucket.
I can see why that is popular though too, because again, psychologically, you're like, my life fucking like, there's a lot bad
Right.
here. I'm not on a
At
poop
least
cruise though.
I'm not on a poop cruise. That's why I watched it. That's why I watched K-pop Demon Hunters and then Poop Cruise, and I was like, you know what? My life's pretty great.
I see the psychological benefits of escapism, and it's grounded in something that feels healthy to me.
Okay. So we want to get on to talking about like things that actually happened in the movie, but of course we have to do a K-pop rec of the week. And I mean, K-pop rec of the week is the whole OST for K-pop Demon Hunters. But
Correct.
do you have a favorite song that you want to give a shout to?
I'm gonna say Golden. I can't stop listening to Golden. So EJ is the voice of Rumi, and there's a point in the movie where she's singing Golden, and the notes are crazy high. And I actually saw that EJ had said, like, when she recorded Golden, like, she fried her own brain from singing these notes. They're crazy high. And
Mm-hmm.
there's a point where Rumi is on a ring, and she's dangling over the audience, and she's like, does that high note that's like, "I'm not gonna sing it," but it's like the Born to Be, and it goes
Yes.
super freaking high. I get chills still when I hear that part, because also the song is just so soaring, the message is beautiful, like, inject it into my veins all the time, and I'm going around the house and I'm, like, singing it. And what's funny is my daughter, I didn't think she was, like, super into the movie. She's singing the frickin' OST nonstop, and I
I
was like,
love
I
it.
knew it. It got to her too. It got to her too.
How about you, Amy?
So I vacillate between I go back and forth between Golden and What It Sounds Like. Um
Oh,
I love like Golden was the first one that really hit me. Um and lately it's been What It Sounds Like because of the 3 times that I've watched the movie, because I can see that whole because it's the whole climax and resolution of the movie
yeah,
is that song, is What It Sounds Like, and
yeah.
I don't wanna give anything away yet because 'cause we're not in the spoiler section yet, but, like, I get so emotional now with What It Sounds Like because I play the movie in my head when I hear that song,
Mhm.
um, and it yeah, chills, absolute chills.
That's my answer too, is What It Sounds Like, I think is my favorite song.
Yeah, it's
So
funny, the Saja Boys songs aren't my favorite, but, like, I fucking love the Saja Boys.
I
Yeah.
love the Sasha Boys, and I love Your Idol. Like, Your Idol is fucking awesome. Like, I want them looking like demons and doing sexy
Yeah,
songs about stealing
so
my soul all the time.
Amy messages me. She
Yeah.
knows I've been an ATEEZ fan for, like, I it's been
A long
years.
time.
I don't even
Since we
know. It's
started
been
the
a year.
podcast, I think.
Yeah, I think I've been an ATEEZ for, like, 4 years now. And she messages me and she's like, "So I was, listening to your idol and I saw a comment that was like, if you like your idol, you should listen to Halazia by ATEEZ." And then Amy goes, "So I listened to it and
I
like,
wanna watch the video. I watched the
yeah,
video.
you're like, I watched the video and like, maybe I should get into ATEEZ now." And I was like, "Amy,"
She just
like,
starts shooting me videos, and I'm watching them
literally,
all.
I was like, "You created a monster. So here you go." Like, I'm like, I'm sorry, but like, this is your
Don't be
fault.
sorry.
And
I've
so I
watched
just
every
kept
single
sending
one
her
you sent
stuff.
me. Yeah.
Yeah, because there's one ATEEZ used to do. I think a lot of I feel like K-pop idols don't do this as much as they used to, but they always used to do Halloween videos. They would, like, dress up and, like, they used to do it all the time. I just don't think they do it as much anymore. Um, they would, like, dress up and then perform one of their songs, like, kind of just, like, extra content. And ATEEZ had done a vampire version of this song called Deja Vu, which is, like, one of their, like, sexy songs. So I actually completely forgot about it, and I sent that to
Mhm.
her, like, one of the last ones, and she's like, "Why was this not your first choice?" And I was like, "I forgot because it's very vampire-y, and the song was in a corset, as always.
It's so
It's
sexy.
fantastic."
It's so sexy.
Yeah, so it was just really funny, because I was like, "Girl." I mean, where do I
I
even
know.
start?
No, 'cause if people were saying, like, the most like, Saja Boy's coded song is Halazia. So I'm like, "Alright, I'm gonna go watch that video." Then I'm like, "Well, fuck. I
Yeah,
need more."
it is. It's very, your idol coded because it just is, like, kind of that haunting sound. Like, you
Mhm.
think ATEEZ is gonna steal your soul after listening to that song, like you do.
Alright, well, our souls have been stolen. We're moving on to the spoiler section. So,
Yeah.
if you have not watched the movie yet, it's on Netflix. It's an hour and I think, like, 39 minutes. So, it's a quick watch, and if you don't wanna be spoiled because there's a big twist, like, at the very beginning of the movie, like, things happen so fast, it's so fast-paced. So, like, get over
Yeah.
to Netflix and come back when you finish. Otherwise, we are moving onward.
Mhm.
So, our demon hunters are a K-pop girl group known as Huntrix. The three members, Rumi, Zoe, and Mira, were chosen as the protectors of the Hunmoon, a mystical barrier that separates the humans from demons. They are essentially, according to creator and director Maggie Kang, shamans. And in an interview that she did with Asian AV Club, and I will link all the things that I talk about, I will link in the show notes because I really wanted to go to Asian creators, Asian content creators to get any research that I wanted to do for this because, like Megan brought up, like there's so many different layers to the movie. And obviously, like one of the biggest layers is that this was created by Koreans and Korean Americans for, Koreans and Korean Americans. And I want to
And for the
give
general
a
population,
spotlight
let's
and for the
be
general public for sure. Oh yeah. But I'm
for
saying, but
sure.
I want to, for when people are analyzing it, I want to go to as close to the source as I can get. And so that's why I was trying to find interviews with the creators.
And they're
So
talking like Korean Americans are like all over. They're doing
Mhm.
Substacks. Like there's definitely a
Yes.
million people talking about it.
Yes. So, she says that rooting the mythology of Huntrix, um, of the demon hunters in shamanism helps legitimize the whole concept, like in the real world. So, how do you feel that this connection to like a big part of Korean culture, and not just Korean culture, because shamanism isn't, you know, just existing in Korean culture, but it is a big part of it. But how do you think that sort of rooting the mythology of Huntrix in this sort of, historical thing deepens the story beyond the idea that basically like that K-pop is so awesome that it can like defeat demons?
Well, I think what's interesting to me is like this is another thing about the movie has so many layers because I'm just like, oh, they're just demon hunters. Like, I didn't even know it was rooted in shamanism. I actually didn't look at that, but now what's funny, I literally just made this connection right now because I'm not gonna give spoilers for Head Over Heels, but, Amy and I are currently watching Head Over Heels, and it's definitely like a paranormal romance. These are shamans who can see ghosts, like, ghosts are happening, like, in this drama, in this K-drama, and the one shaman has a literal sword that looks like Mira's sword. I mean, there are like,
Hmm.
I didn't even make that connection. I was just like, "Oh, they're just demon hunters." Like, that's what I'm saying, it's for everyone. It is
Yeah,
for
and
everyone.
I
But
had
then there's
just
Easter
watched.
eggs that connect you.
I was gonna say I had just watched Haunted Palace before starting Head Over Heels,
Ah,
and so Haunted Palace is all about like the heroine's a shaman, and like song and dance and chanting is a huge part of shamanism. And that's what I like
yeah.
what they show in the history of the protectors of the Hunmoon, because they go back into, like into history in the movie to show that like it sort of originated, with shamans and then moved on through the generations to fit whatever musical style was, popular in those generations. Um, but yeah, I love that. There's layers. I love the layers.
Mhm, mhm.
Um, so I kinda took to Reddit because I like to go to Reddit to listen to discourse as well, and,
I'm so sorry.
I do think that we'll be linking a lot of there's no shortage in Korean creators that we should be, like,
For
amplifying
sure.
to be able to talk about, like, the things that they've seen. One thing that I saw on Reddit that I thought was fun, was just kind of like the takedown of not takedown, the, unpacking, I guess, a little bit of, for example, Saja Boys and looking at, like, kinda like the stereotyping of it, of, like, what each of the members were, and then kind of, like, where there's,
Hmm.
like, a shadow side to that. So, if I
Yes!
can talk
Yeah.
about that really quickly, and so this is not me
Please.
coming up with this was, let me even see who it is on Reddit so I can at least get
No,
where Reddit.
I actually read this and I thought the same thing. Please
Yeah, I
talk
love
Okay,
about
so
this.
this
this.
This
is
is really
Beautiful
interesting.
Butterfly 44. Thank you for these thoughts, and I'm gonna read it, like, I'm gonna read it close to verbatim just because I think it's a good take.
Mhm,
So first, we have with, like, the leaders, we've got, like, Jinu, the leader, we have Abby, who shows his abs, there's Romance Saja, who, like, is always like, "We love our fans." There's Mystery Saja, whose hair covers his eyes and he doesn't speak much, and there's, like, Baby, who's got the deep voice and the youthful face. But then the shadow side to this could be, with Abby, we have the hypersexualization that can happen for idols. Baby can be about, like, the infantilization that can happen to idols. Mystery can be about the lack of privacy that they face and how, like, so many details of their lives are made public, even if they may not want that. And then romance can kind of be leaning on, like, that parasocial relationship. So, and these are all things that, like, I think about too, being like a person who participates in the fandoms and brushes up against some of this, and certainly has, engaged in all, well, I would say infantilization is not something I really partake in, but like the rest of it, like, has resonated a little bit. And so just, those are some of like the ways that I think like it can flesh it out in like a more intellectual way of like what at face value can just be like a fun romp of the story.
Yeah, agreed. There's layers. I'm telling you, this movie's like an onion.
It is. So, our first introduction to Huntrix is when they are on a private airplane being taken to the final stop on their world tour. How does this opening scene set the tone for the movie, as well as the kind of characters Rumi, Mira, and Zoe are?
So this opening scene was so cool because the music started, and I seriously was like a meerkat. I was like, "Rrr?" Like this song sounds like a Blackpink song in a good way. I actually kind of like it better than most Blackpink songs. And I was like, what is happening? Like, that was sort of my first clue that I was like, is this going to be really good? Because this song is really great.
How
And
it's
I
done is
love
the
that,
song. Just
yeah,
I
how it's
wanted to,
done,
yeah,
which
how
is
it's done. So
such a
good.
fun song. So good. So many K-pop songs that are going to give you the same vibe as how it's done. Like that is it's a very kind of classic K-pop anthem, whereas like you're kind of boasting about like how good you are. That's, very classic. Anyway, but I love that you do get distinct characterizations like very quickly. You immediately know who the leader is. And they also they come across as like someone did say like the only unrealistic thing was that these K-pop idols actually eat. Because like if I feel like they're constantly on diets. But yeah, so I love that you got like the distinct characterization very quickly, which was only then reinforced as the movie went on. And I know this seems like little, but I love that they each have their own weapons.
Yeah.
It's very like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle-ish, where like everyone has their weapon specialty. I loved it.
I don't think I have a whole lot of it. Like, I don't think I have a whole lot to add. I'll add where I feel like I have value.
Okay. Yeah, what I really did like about this opening scene is, first of all, they're three like besties, like just being silly with each
Mhm.
other. Like they thought that they had all the time in the world. They didn't know that they were on a plane with demons who were trying to kill them, and that they were like missing that like they were missing their own concert. They thought they had all the time in the world. And so they're like carb loading and like making their ramyun and just being like silly, goofy girls until they find out that the people wasting all their time are demons and they have to like put their ramyun down and get their weapons and take care of shit. And that's when the music starts. And it goes from them being like silly, goofy, having fun with each other to being fucking badass
Fighting
and
demons.
fighting demons and to a banger of a song. And it's yeah, I that's all I needed. Like I was like, this movie is gonna slap. And it did.
Yeah, and it's like immediately you get the humor too. Like it was really funny where she was like, "I know you're a demon because you're pouring coffee into like the plant or something like that." It's like the
Yeah,
humor was
that was
good.
funny.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
humor was good. Um, and like they launch themselves off a plane. They're like the rapping is good. Like it's just so much is just so good that I was like, how, like, who made this and why are more I remember thinking like why did they just like quietly just like here you go.
Yeah.
I think they just thought it was going to be like one of those movies that a couple people watch. I just really didn't think they expected this.
Well, it's also so we're all it's also Netflix too, right? So I mean, not that Netflix doesn't do advertising, but we don't see advertising for movies that stream the same way we do see advertising for movies that are going to theaters. Right? There's more
Yeah.
money that's put into things that are going in the theaters. Also, I have to remember like I'm saying that this dropped with like no fanfare and stuff like that, but I also have to remember like where I get my quote unquote advertising from. Like I don't watch live TV, so I don't see commercials. So if it doesn't pop up in my social media, I'm not going to know about it, right? And now
Yeah.
that my algorithm has changed, you best believe I see Netflix Korea, Netflix Philippines, Netflix, US advertising
Right.
K-pop Demon Hunters on the daily. So maybe
Yeah.
it was just my algorithm too, which I mean, that's a little sus to me because my algorithm should be all things Korean content, but
See, no,
yeah,
I actually call bull because I get so much Netflix, like the swoon. I get so and
I
I
do
was
too.
inundated. I was inundated with Squid Game content. Again, not like Squid Game is a whole different animal. My point is just that I was getting advertising. I was getting lots of Korean content advertising, and it was just all Squid Game and not K-pop Demon Hunters. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I do like I do agree that like as far
Let
as
me just
all
say this
things on
about
Netflix go, it was less for this.
so something that I do think is funny though is they talk about this in the drama, and then I watch Netflix do it. So in the drama, they kind of talk about like the idea of like fan poaching too, which is like
Oh, in
Mhm.
the movie, you
yeah,
mean?
or in the
Yeah, yeah,
yeah, in the movie. So you get like,
yeah. They do.
and so it's very like commonplace that like you get new groups. And this is like how everything works in life that's like popular, but like you're gonna be like, if you like this kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so you see Saja boys kind of get their demon start by like, basically fan poaching off of like Huntrix. And what made me laugh with Netflix, and again, it's just good business and it makes sense, is when BTS came back and did their OT7 live, RM sang like a couple of lines from Soda Pop, and then Jungkook looked over and was like, "Oh, did you see that? That was fun. Like that was fun." They basically like they both recognized that the other had seen it or were aware of it and had kind of like a funny moment. Netflix immediately changes their social media to essentially be like BTS like saw Saja boys or something. Like I
Yes.
forget what the language was, but they basically did like that kind of like fan poaching of like we got like a nod from like, the group, and so we're
Yeah.
going to like take that. And of course they did, but it made me laugh because it also was like referenced in the movie as like a tactic in the movie.
It was honestly hysterical. I just imagine can you imagine, like, the social media team at Netflix when they saw that when they got that clip of RM? Can you imagine? It was probably all hands on deck. Like, how can we maximize this as much as possible? Like,
And
I'm
that's
sure.
where I guess when you're saying like what was Netflix thinking, I don't know. So either they weren't really planning on this and it happened, but I will say for them if they, because I don't think they were, because the other thing is like the Netflix made merch, like they could have had this all built out to be like a K-pop company essentially, to like drop the merch, drop everything.
Yep.
And so they've been scrambling, which makes me think they didn't know that this was going to be quite the
100%
thing.
scrambling. Yeah.
And they've risen to I would say that, like, they haven't fumbled since as much, like, from what I've just I mean, I'm not paying a lot of attention, but when I saw that, I'm like, "Okay, like, you're really looking like, you're paying enough attention that you're gonna, like, jump into, like, where you can pluck pluck on the barebacking of others as much as you can,"
Yeah, I
and
mean,
it makes sense.
yeah, I would say my only criticism is, like, they're clearly trying to rush it now.
Mm.
And, like, I just wish it would have been better planned. I wish someone probably did tell them. So, I bet every Korean involved in this production was like, "Maybe you should prepare for this," and Netflix is like, "Nah."
Yeah.
Like, again,
Because there's
to
no,
that don't come for me, Netflix,
Which
but
is often that you'll
I
see
just bet.
creators, like, we've all done this with books too, been like,
Yeah.
"Hey, we think this would resonate," and we're usually right. Not that we're saying, like, even
Yeah,
even I would be like my own book, I'm not saying my book's gonna break out, but I'll be like, "This part of it would be what I would touch on because I think this has got, like, the resonate," and they'll be like, "No, no, we're gonna focus on, like, this other thing," and I'll be like, "Okay, but that's not gonna be, like, the selling point." I
right,
think that that's I so it wouldn't shock me at all if, like, the show creators were like, "Hey," and then there could be this, this, and this, and, like, they just didn't do it.
right? Because I was
mhm,
gonna say it's not like this was an inexpensive movie to make. Like,
Mm-mm.
this is
Like
no,
top
true,
tier animation.
true.
This
It
is, like,
is.
K-pop industry level songs, like, written by people
yeah, that's
in the
why
K-pop
I guess I'm
industry.
confused on the
Yeah.
apparent lack of investment ready to go right out of the gate because it seems like this was not a indie movie vibe.
No,
No.
no, not definitely not. Not the animation team they had, and also, yeah, I mean, so EJ, the singer, that is Rumi, she's written K-pop songs for, like, top K like aespa, like, top pop artists, like, it's not like she's some, like, songwriter who's never done this before. I mean, she's, like, a top K-pop songwriter, which again blows me away, like, like, how did I not hear about this? I don't know.
Yeah, it is pretty wild.
Yeah.
So Huntrix is three women. We're three women.
Mhm.
If we were Huntrix, who would we be?
I love this question.
You're gonna have to I can't. I was like, I don't know.
Oh, I already have it.
Oh,
Okay.
I
I thought about
100%
this.
I 100% know.
Okay, I'll see if you two have it because I don't have it.
Okay. I'm Zoe.
Yes.
I mean, that's
Yes.
easy. That's super easy.
Yeah.
I'm very much Zoe. So I think Amy is Rumi and Leah is Mira.
100% what I
Yeah.
thought
See,
too.
that's actually pretty easy. I
Okay.
thought about it for 2 seconds. I knew immediately I was Zoe.
I
That's
wrote
the
the
easiest
question
one.
because I knew. Like I was like there
Yeah.
I guess I challenge you listeners to tell us otherwise because I couldn't do it any other way.
No, the more I thought about it, the more I was like, Leah is Mira. Like, absolutely Leah's Mira.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And
I buy that.
yeah. I think it fits. But I'm like, as soon as they like really get on Zoe, where they're like, don't you just want to please everyone and you just want everyone to like you. I was like, I feel seen by Zoe.
So we kind of already touched on the next question. We were kind of already leading into this. So what do you think this movie has to say about the power of fandoms, both good and bad?
Yeah, I think that's kind of what I loved about this movie is that in regards to what it has to say about fandoms, because we see in real life the K-pop fandoms sometimes can do very bad things. They can do detrimental things. They can send funeral wreaths to, the offices of K-pop idols, which is insane. But then you also see, but I would say that's the minority. That's the minority. But the movie is very much about like, because again, it's not just Huntrix. Huntrix needs the fandom. They have to have the fandom. They need it's not just their voices sealing the Hanmoon, it's their voices affecting the fandom. That's what seals the Hanmoon. And so I look at especially like Army and I see like Army can seal the Hanmoon with like BTS can seal the Hanmoon with Army. Like, and like you see the good things that sometimes the fandoms do. You see charity projects that fandoms do. You can see how they support their idols if their idols are having a hard time. I like that K-pop Demon Hunters recognizes that the fans are needed. The fans are needed to seal the Hanmoon. The fans are needed to keep the demons at bay.
Okay, it's time for a little history lesson. We're going to get to the demons because I want to talk about the demons, but I want to talk about the tiger and the magpie, Jinu's familiars, because they are more important than we probably realized on first watching the film. The tiger walks around with a permanent goofy grin, knocking over flower pots and trying to right them, while the magpie always side eyes the tiger with its 6 eyes. They pass messages back and forth between Rumi and Jinu and serve as the connection between the demon and the human world. But what's the deeper meaning? I'm glad you asked. And thanks to one of my favorite content creators on Instagram and TikTok, Kenji, I have the answer. So Kenji, if you don't follow him, he's one of my favorite people on Instagram. And he was talking a lot about K-pop Demon Hunters and did a whole video on the tiger and the magpie and where they originate from. So the tiger is the national animal for Korea, and the bird is the type of bird it is a magpie. And there are folk tales around both in Korean history, but the two of them appearing together is a reference to a type of painting called minhwa, dating back to the 1600s, which means the people's painting. And in these paintings, the tiger is always portrayed as goofy and clueless, while the magpie is up on the pine tree just looking down like, ugh, which is exactly how the magpie in K-pop Demon Hunters acts. Why? Minhwa paintings were satire, and the tiger represented people with authority or power, maybe even royalty, who were doing stupid stuff. And the magpie was the people who were up in the tree rolling their eyes at the stupid people in power. Somehow I feel like we can relate to this.
No.
I don't know why this is hitting home so much, but
Yeah,
Anyway, the hat that the magpie wears symbolizes the nobility. And in K-pop Demon Hunters, Jinu mentions that he made the hat for the tiger, which is quote unquote royalty, right? But the bird keeps taking it because, quote unquote, the power belongs to the people. So
Shut up.
I know. That was Kenji's
And I
video.
thought that was just a funny.
And at the end of the video, he's like, maybe I'm overanalyzing this. And all of
No,
us,
you're not, Kenji.
everyone
No,
in the
you're not.
comments is like, you just like schooled us all. Like, that was amazing.
That's so funny because I thought that was a throwaway line where Jinyu's like, I made it for the tiger, but the magpie. I was like,
the bird keeps taking it? Yes.
Yeah. I thought that was ad-libbed. I wasn't even sure. It was like, is that part of the script? Like, that was funny.
I have a question, but I want to add the second part really quick because this is another creator that I saw and I'm sorry, I forgot who it was. It was something I saw scrolling through TikTok. So if I find this creator again, because maybe I liked it, the post, I'll give them a shout. But they pointed out that when we first meet Jinu in the demon realm, he's playing his bipa and singing to Guima about how he can solve the problem of Huntrix and the Hanmoon. He's walking through the crowd of demons with a tiger, but no magpie. Why? Because Jinu is the magpie. He's wearing the hat and he's mocking Guima. Guima even calls him out and says, I gave you that voice. I let you keep that voice. You better watch the way that you talk to me. So remember that Jinu was a commoner who sold his soul to live like a king. And now he's mocking authority because he is the magpie. So I thought that was a very astute observation.
That's so cool.
Talking about like the layers.
Yeah. Because I remember Guimau's like, you dare to mock me? And I was like,
yes.
Oh, did he? But that's where it came from.
Yes. So, I mean, this is just all just to say, like, the more that I kept seeing creators talk about it, and you and I were sending stuff like this back and forth to each other. I'm like, it's so much deeper than I even knew that first time watching. I have to watch it again, and then I have to watch it again. Every time I watch, I'm trying to like pick out those little things now that other people have pointed out for me. And maybe that's another reason why I keep watching the movie, because it's a different experience every time.
Yeah, now I didn't know all that. I did not see that that content from Kenji, but now I'm a little shook about it.
And we should link it in our show notes.
Yeah, I will. I'll link the post because that I do have saved.
That's fascinating. So, no, it's not just a story about demons, but it can be. It
can be. I know,
really,
right?
That's the thing I do like about it is there's so many people that are just watching this and they're just like, this was a really cool movie about demons with good music. And that's also okay. I'm always the type of person after I watch something, I do like to like go back because sometimes I'm like, why did I like it? And so I want to go back and like analyze what I liked about it. But then if I learn something, especially about Korean culture, that's so interesting. I will say I did see like the paintings of the tiger that you refer to, and it's hilarious because he does look just as freaking derpy in the paintings as he does in the movie. Like they really did draw this like derpy tiger in these paintings, and it is pretty cool. So from this scene, the Saja boys are born. But wait, there's more history culture that we probably missed on our first watch with the group's name. On the surface, Saja means lion, and we see this used with the Saja boys, asking fans to become part of their pride. And also their little, their light stick is a little like lion silhouette. But on K-Culture with Jae Ha Kim, a great Substack, they say one could infer that the group name was selected to represent a pride of strong, talented young men. But it's not too long before the girls discover that the boys are demons whose true selves look more sinister. K-drama fans will recognize what it means when a being is dressed like this. He's a Josung Saja, or a Grim Reaper. With inclusions like this, the creators behind this film demonstrated that they not only knew what they were doing in telling a compelling story, but that they wanted this American film to resonate with Korean viewers as well. Because most non-Koreans won't understand the tie between Saja boys and Josung Saja.
I had no idea.
No, I didn't.
I had no idea.
I had to look it up.
Yeah, I read this and I was like, that's, I mean, I should stop being surprised every time I find something new that I learn about this. But I honestly, like that I just learned as I was researching to write this. Like, I didn't know they were Grim Reapers. Yeah, so one of the big twists that's, that's in the movie that was really funny when I was watching it with Sydney, my daughter, because it was, like, literally, like, 15 minutes in when they're rehearsing to play Golden live the first time, you you hear Rumi, like, singing those powerful, words about being herself, and then she unzips, like, her high-collared jacket in the mirror, and she's got patterns like a demon. And
I
like, Sydney and
know.
I both look like, it's like 15 minutes in, isn't it? Like, it's really soon. And Sydney and
It
I
is
look at
soon.
each other and I'm like, "She's a demon?" Like, "Okay."
I
So,
know.
I know. Like, it is very fast paced, and in interviews with the creators, like, they did say they had to cut a lot out for timing, and also because it was just it didn't fit the story that they were trying to tell this go around. Like, Maggie Kong has said, like, she has plenty of story should a sequel
Mm,
happen. Like, there's,
I
there's so
believe it.
much origin, like, who is Celine? Why is she involved? What's her relationship to Rumi's mom? All of that. Because all we get from this is that somehow Rumi is, like, descendant of Guima, but she's also human, and her mom is
Well,
dead.
all they say really is her dad's a demon and her mom is
Is
not,
dead, and
is
she's
dead.
dead.
And
Yeah.
she wasn't a demon.
Right.
So Rumi's like half demon,
Right.
half human. Half well, she's a half demon hunter. She's
She's a
half
half
demon hunter.
demon, half
You know
hunter.
what she is? She's basically Blade. Okay?
Mm.
She's Blade, the Daywalker.
Yeah.
That's what she is.
Or, Sam Winchester.
That I was like, you're gonna make a supernatural reference, aren't you?
Of course.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of imagery and messaging in this movie that's about well, obviously, like, shame, but also, struggling with, like, different parts of yourselves. Because I do think that's interesting. I actually did not even notice this on first viewing, but then saw it again in content that Zoe talks about. I think the story is that she grew up in America, but obviously she's Korean, and so she talks about how she tries to play both sides,
I've
but in the end,
I've got the quote right here in the
oh
script.
yeah, I lived to you're right. I lived 2 lives trying to play both sides, but I couldn't find my own place. Yeah, I love the line where Zoe in Golden says, "I lived 2 lives, tried to play both sides, but I couldn't find my own place." And I didn't even realize it until I saw, like, a clip later, but she's actually pointing to, like, essentially like a American street and then a Korean street. And so, again, this was not messaging that I necessarily can relate to, but I liked learning about it and I liked hearing from her, but I'm sure there's a lot of people from Asian diaspora who can absolutely relate. And so I liked that part of it because I thought, "Oh my gosh, there's so many people that will feel seen by this."
Yeah, and I've seen a lot of content, people talking about that yes, it is very clearly pointing to Asian diaspora, but also just the shame of feeling othered, right? The shame that comes with feeling
Yeah.
othered, because there's like Rumi being half demon, could be talking about, mom's human, dad's a demon. It could be, being biracial. It could just be being, like you said, like the whole diaspora thing, like coming from two different worlds. I've seen people talking about that it could be anything that makes you feel othered, whether it's, um, you know, uh, gender identity, sexual identity, cultural identity, but that we all have probably at some point felt othered. And so while I do think there is obviously a very strong tie to Asian diaspora, that going back to, like, why is this connecting beyond that is because that shame of feeling other, and I think is so sadly universal.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I've got a lot of examples of it here, like Rumi hiding the fact that she's a demon. Um, Genu, like, here's, like, here's the cultural, like, identity, like, within, within just being Korean, but, like, now we're looking at, the sort of socioeconomic situation. Even though Gene is hundreds of years old, he was not wealthy. He was a beggar, and he abandoned his family to live like a king
Hmm.
so that he could feel not othered. Zoe and Golden, like you just said, even Mira's line in Golden, called a problem child because I got too wild. Now that's how I'm getting paid.
Isn't that kind of Leah? Not that you were a problem child.
No, but I do laugh about sometimes my family would have considered me like the gross inappropriate one. Like that is like the reputation I would hold in the family as like, I can't believe you just said that. I can't believe that you think that you're gross, like gross in like a way that like, yeah, whatever. Like you're have a perverted sense of humor, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, did it surprise anybody that I wrote romance? And not to
Yeah.
say that romance is gross or perverted, but I'm just saying like I took
No.
like I was just always like very comfortable with like sexualized conversation. I was always comfortable like taking stuff there, even when I was a little child. And so yeah.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, you write books and on the podcast. And you're like loved for your humor. Like people love that. They love hearing
So I'm sure not
you.
everyone does, but yeah.
Okay, well, most people, a lot of people. But
Yeah,
that's
and I
what
mean, I try to also be clear. I do really try to be clear about, and I've been trying to be better at it, and it comes across really blunt. Like you've experienced it lately, especially when it comes to fandom. I try to just be really clear to be like, look, this is how I'm going to show up in fandom spaces. Like these are the things I will do, these are the things I won't do, and if you don't like some of that, like that's fine. Just know what you're going to get from me in it.
Mhm, mhm,
And, like, will
yeah.
I sexualize people? Of course I will. Of course I will. Am I gonna be, like, public and gross and, like, problematic? No, but, behind the scenes, like, I might yeah, I'm gonna take it to places that make people feel uncomfortable, and you don't have to engage, like, you don't have to.
Yeah, you will send me pictures of Yoongi's finger hair
Mhm.
and say dirty things about them, and I love that about you. I love that
Yes.
about
And
I
I
you.
mean,
love that you know not to send that to me.
See? See?
yeah, I mean, and I know that Megan doesn't wanna see it as much as she has lately. It's just she opened the door to, like, being, like, instead of being bi-curious, she opened up the door to be, like, BTS curious, and I was like, "Oh, you crack that door, and I will be there like, Jack Nicholson in The Shining at the doorway, being like,
Hello,
if
Johnny.
you wanna do it, hello."
No, I like it every time. I have told you, you can send me whatever
Mm.
you want.
And with drama characters, I mean, look, again, like, my latest has been I've been on my AO3 fic phase for a while. Omegaverse has incepted itself into my language. It is not gonna be uncommon, like, if somebody's, like, comes to me now and is like, "Kong Ha Newell, here's a reel for you," I have to think hard to be like, "Is this a person I can write back and say, 'I want to impregnate him like a seahorse?'" Because some people may not enjoy getting that from me.
Ah,
And
you
I'm
know, you
I'm
you say,
sincere, I'm
I want him to
sincere.
open his mouth like a Pez dispenser and, like, eat me." That's basically what he
So, I
and
mean,
I
it's just
love it.
like, and the people don't have to engage, I guess. That's the other thing. So, I am Mira. You can take it, you can leave it. It is what it is.
That's why you're Mira.
Yeah.
Like, you're Mira, and then that's it was this was such an easy decision.
Yeah.
It is funny because we actually kind of fit into the archetypes
No,
a
it
little
does,
bit.
it does. I'm not a good dancer, though.
Oh, but how badly do I want to learn the soda
Mm.
pop dance? So bad.
I wish I could do any dance. Honestly,
I
I watch
know.
dancing, like, and I've been thinking about it more and more, being like, maybe I need to just try more, even if it's bad, because I'm like, sometimes I just like watch people just do like basic moves. I'm like, I just don't my
I would
body.
take a K-pop dance class if there was one near me. I would 100% take a
Hmm.
K-pop dance class.
I keep getting ads for K-pop dance classes. There aren't anywhere near me,
Mhm.
but I appreciate the hustle of who's teaching
I just
these.
wanna be in my body more, I guess. I think that's the thing too in 2025 is, like, I feel like my head's full, but, like, I still need to, like, integrate with my body more, and I feel like dance I've just never been I mean, I can move my body, but, like, to do it in a way that's, like, counting beats and, like, steps. My parents tried to expose me to a lot when I was younger, like, hoping something like, what hidden gift they didn't know the hidden gift was gonna be I could just write smut all day, every day.
Right.
But, when they were trying, like, they tried with, like, ice skating. And then I was, like, the only kid that couldn't get off the traffic cone. Like, I still have
I can't.
I still have to be like, "Where's the traffic cone?" if I'm skating. I'm like, I can't do it." And they put me in dance class. I mean, it was like, bless my heart. Bless my
Yeah.
heart.
I think my problem is I was never good at, like, learning dances, but I was like should I even say I was a good dancer if, like, I'm at a club or a bar. I didn't go to clubs, but if I'm, like, at a bar with
You
music,
could
I'm a good
freestyle. You
dancer.
could shake your ass.
I can, but my body is much different now. And I think that's part of the problem. I still think I can do things, and then all of a sudden my knees crack, and I'm like, "Well, fuck. I can't do this anymore." Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's the issue. The issue is that I
I thought
in my
you'd
head
be like, "No, your booty can still do it, but I can't
no,
help
I
your knee."
in my head, I'm, like, 21, and my body's like, "You are 20 years older. What the hell is wrong with you?" That's the problem right now with me.
So let's talk smut.
Okay.
I mean romance.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because there is a romance, a
Mhm,
very quick romance in this,
mhm.
and let's talk about it. So
Yeah.
Rumi and Reginu, whatever we want to call it. Did you catch Anyosep does the speaking voice for Genu, and goddamn, that man can talk. Did you
He
catch the
sounds great.
business proposal call out with their meet
I
cute?
did not at
I
all.
didn't. I
So
didn't till
that
someone
song
messaged
is
me.
Love Maybe by Mellowmance is from Business Proposal. Um, so when, when she drops the box of tonic, um, and it looks like he's gonna reach out his hand, like you were saying, and then he just brushes his hair,
Right.
brushes off his shoulder or something, and just lets it fall, and he's like, "Watch where you're going." So funny.
Yeah.
Um, but there's so in I don't know when the song first pops up in the K drama because you know what K drama OSTs are like. Like the songs will play at you know various different times in various different episodes. But there are so many like almost falling like you know situations between the hero and the heroine in Business Proposal. I remember the shoe across like the lobby
Oh my
of the office
god.
building. Uh,
Yes.
God, so good. So I love that that they know their audience is going to be, a big portion of their audience is going to be K-drama watchers and that somebody's
Yeah.
going to figure this out and somebody's going to point it out. So, yeah,
And they did.
there's a call out cuz Anyo Sup is the lead in Business Proposal. So, there's a call out there for him for his K-drama and I love that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, okay, but like were we robbed of a real romance in this? Like I mean there was no kiss, right? The
Mhm.
only physical exchange between Rumi and Genu is Genu giving Rumi his soul and holding off Guima so that she can seal the honeymoon with,
Hey,
what it sounds like.
they
They
flew in the
did.
air together.
They flew.
They had a duet.
Yeah,
No, I
I
was
felt the
perfectly
romanced.
I
yeah,
loved
I
it. Because a lot of people are complaining
yeah.
about the lack of a kiss, but I think it was too soon.
No.
I think it was too soon for there to be a
Too
kiss.
soon. They both had a lot of issues going on. They, like, really had some stuff they had to work on, okay? And so, no, I don't think I loved what we were
Yeah,
given.
one doesn't sell out their family to live the good life and be ready to just make out.
Yeah, he had
He
been
had a
living as a
redemption arc.
demon.
Yeah, he had a redemption journey to go on.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't think he was interested in it taking it that
If
far
I can
yet.
extrapolate even, and this is like just a small detour, but I just want to point it out because for you, Amy, is I was thinking about him also. It's a very different setup, but I felt like I could draw some parallels between him and Eurydice from Hades Town. Because when you think of
Mm.
what happens when you have extreme hunger, essentially, like with your body, like, so you're
Mhm.
suffering, like, what will people do? So, like, because I feel like, yeah, in some ways, like, we're like, yeah, he did this to live the good life. But, like, it's like, really, what are you going to do when you're
Right,
starving?
he was starving. Right,
And so
right.
in this case, he was willing to like make a deal at the expense even of his family and his like filial duty to like his mother or what, I mean, it was his mom and his sister. So that also tells me some things about like patriarchy and like who you're going to sell out. Like, would you have done that if it was your dad? I don't know. But also what happens when you're really hungry and the choices that you make when you're really hungry. And is that a fair representation of who you are when you're at like like you're most physically desperate. And so I think
Right.
about that with like Eurydice and the choices that she made, and some of it was grounded in like physical desperation of need.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and also the whole like life of a demon. So Genu sold his soul so that he could feed his belly. But then he's basically, you know, when he and we don't know what happened, like when did he die? When did he become a demon? Like was there a death or does he just automatically become a demon? But the whole part about being a demon and the whole reason why Genu was coming up with the plan to basically, you know, kill Huntrix and, open up the Hun Moon so that they could feed on all the souls is that Guima promised him to silence the voices in his head because all that he's all the payment that he's gotten for like, what he did to his family is that he lives with their voices in his head and he lives with the shame of what he did and he can't unhear it. And I think that's a really important part of it, um, for showing him as yes, he made a bad choice. He made a questionable choice, a morally gray choice for sure. But that doesn't necessarily mean he's a horrible person because he has been living in remorse of what he did for hundreds of years. And so I think that
Mhm.
was an important part of his journey. And then him sacrificing himself in the final moments, when Rumi thinks that she's not gonna be able to hold off Guima, and then, Jinu's like, "You gave me back my soul, and now I give it to you." Oh my god.
I know.
Okay. So that brings me to kind of like the final question here. Do we think that Jinu is gone forever? Because I already have the sequel written in my head, so
Well, I don't know. I mean, it's interesting. I did see a lot of things where his familiars are still there.
yes.
So at the very end, after supposedly he gives his soul to Rumi, his familiars are still there, and they are perched on a sign that says "Come back."
Yep.
Which, and normally I'd be like, well, I don't know, but this movie has proved to me that it's smart. Okay, it's proved to me that they do things intentionally. So I do wonder. I mean, his familiars are probably following Rumi around. I mean, I don't know. But cuz I guess she has his soul. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I have a lot of I'm very very curious. And someone said too like so the Saja boys are probably just back in Demon Land.
Right.
So he could get them together. They're still there. He could round up the Saja boys again and could have a comeback, a new album, a new mini album.
Well, my thought is very close to, like, what you were saying, Leah, about it being kind of like the Orpheus and Eurydice myth, because my idea, if a sequel gets greenlit, my thought is that Genu is just trapped on the other side of the Hun Moon, and
Mm.
she has to go and save him. So she is Orpheus, and he is Eurydice.
Oh, that would be cool. That would be really, really cool.
That's what I
Yeah.
want. That's what I want the next movie to be. But I also want the origin story, obviously. Like, I wanna know, how did Rumi come to be? How did they get chosen to be Huntrix and all
Mm.
that fun stuff?
Yeah, I have like no big I mean, I'm never gonna say no to demons. So I would be surprised, I think again, just given the popularity of everything too. Like at the end of the day, this is really layered and it's highly commercial. And and again, I mean that always from a point of view of I will always stand commercialism in creative content because I think it can be fun. And look at this. Look at the layering and depth and meaning you can put into something that is also designed to be like highly commercial. I just think that like don't ever get like too cool for commercial content because it can be effective and it can be have meaning.
Yeah, I mean, because like at the surface level of this is incredibly commercial. Like it was clearly written. Everything about it is very again on a surface it's universal, it's fun to watch. Like it is commercial. And that's why it's so cool because I feel like I'm getting the commercial fun of it and then also like the emotional depth of it, Like it gave me everything.
Yeah, and look again, I'm curious because this is going more to like potentially now if we're doing video people that like don't always listen to me on my BTS thing, but here's the thing is that I feel like especially like for like normies out in the world that are like okay, you like BTS, like what are you getting out of this? Like what do you like about it? and it gets reduced to, like, I've heard Dynamite before or I've heard Butter before, and so, like, that and again, I'm not gonna hate on those songs whatsoever, but I'm gonna say that they're, like, I'm not seeing, like, a depth here, so, like, do you just like that, and that's, like, what you're in it for. And I would say that, like, if you start to unpack and, like, look at the layering that happens in, like, lyricism and messaging and where album concepts come from, what the stories are they're trying to talk about, the stories of, like, the impossible yet necessary task of, like, self-love, and then, like, also, like, how much they fail at it, as well as honoring that it's important and, like, the emotional honesty of it. Like, you pull it back and this shit goes deep, yet it can
Mhm.
be looked at as, like, having, like, a commercial front to it because some of the music can be more poppy or some of the music can be, whatever. And so I think that's why sometimes I've had a little bit of a pushback too. And somebody's like, oh, well, soda pop's so BTS coded. I'm like, yes. And I feel like sometimes it's like the reductionist that I see happen sometimes where people will
Yeah.
try to take like, okay, they've done some like really high commercial pop that doesn't, there's no layering when you're going to Dynamite. There's no I mean, like,
Right.
I could give you some bullshit, but, like, really, no. Like, when we get to Butter, we're not doing layering. It's just what it is, and for a pandemic song for the West, it does its job. But I would say that, like, that's even if, like, a lot of their fame hung on that and, like, it was like the Demon Hunter's door that, like, opened so
Right.
people entered it and then, like, got into other things. I think that's kind of what I see going on with some of this. But, yeah, you can see something that has,
Mhm.
like, potentially at face value looks commercial. You're like, "This is a group that would be called like a boy band." Already we're dismissing with that language. And then we're going to say that, like, what are you there for? You're there for potentially just like the visual eye candy of it. And then we like demean, the fangirl experience. Like we've talked about all these things before, but I'm saying that like I
Mhm.
can see that that kind of like sums into me why I'm never gonna like I'm not gonna watch this 10,000 times, and I don't need to respect it. I guess that's my ultimate point that I wanna make about this show, is, like,
Yeah.
I feel like I respect it, and I respect what it was, and I respect what it is, and I'm happy to engage in future content of it.
Yeah. I just hope there's another one.
Uh,
That's
I
basically
think
all
we
I have
can,
to say about that.
I feel very safe to assume.
I am. If they made another Squid Game, they're making
I
another
I was gonna
K-pop
say, if
Demon
there's
Hunter.
anything that Netflix should greenlight a month after it releases, it should be K-pop Demon Hunters
Yeah, I would
Part 2.
be stunned if it wasn't, and you know what?
Mhm.
I hope that this original cast stays, I hope that they get paid, I hope they make their bread.
Same.
I wanna
Oh my
see
god.
them make all the money.
Same. That's what I said. That was basically my, like, second thought after finishing, as I was like, "I hope everyone involved is a million like,
I
becomes a
just wanna
millionaire."
see Golden get the Oscar nod. Just get the
Ugh,
nomination. Come on.
I hope. One thing I said, I think I messaged this to you, Amy, is I was like, the thing about Golden too is part of it is, um, the song also is just also about, like, expressing yourself, being creative, and I said, "What if, like, we also need to be ourselves. We need to, like, accept ourselves, and that's also how we seal the honeymoon of our own demons. Like, that's how to keep them
Yeah.
at bay, is, like, for us to sing our songs,
I'm done hiding, now I'm
figuratively.
shining like I'm born to be.
Yeah, I'm done hiding, I'm shining, honestly, this, like, movie kind of inspired like, I've been in a weird place with writing, and I was kind of like, "No, fuck that."
Yeah,
Everything about that song and, like, this that I would say K-pop Demon Hunters also made me wanna create, because I was like,
Yes.
"I wanna create something that makes people feel
and
good
I
too."
wanna touch on this because something else I regret doing this and I don't regret doing this. I dislike threads. Like, so I'm on Instagram quite a lot, and I have made a conscious choice not to be on threads just because I find it to be, like, a fairly doomed place, and so I kinda got out of
Yeah.
it for my own mental health. But
Yeah.
sometimes it'll get me because it'll, like, tease me with a post, and then I'm like, "Well, now I wanna know what the
Clickbait,
post is," and
yeah.
I'll go to click it.
I know, I hate it. I
So,
hate it
Threads
recently
so
has
it
the
got
worst clickbait, yeah.
recently
It
it got
is.
me with something, I forget even what, but I was like, "Fuck, I'm just gonna download Threads again just so I can read whatever this thing was," and I whatever it was wouldn't have been good anyway. But anyway,
Yeah.
because of that, I've been, like, on the periphery of Threads for the last, like, week. And so I guess I do wanna touch on, like, a conversation that I saw unpack on Threads that I do think is interesting to talk about in terms of us and also in terms of talking about creation, is seeing quite a few, um this is coming back to, like, an author space of, primarily Korean American authors being like, I don't wanna see this wave of, like, white women now, like, wanting to, like, enter the space and, like, write basically, like, some sort of K-pop Demon Hunter adjacent story, and fair point, honestly. I was like, I really feel like that's a fair point,
Yeah.
and beyond that, what I think is important that we're saying in this is where the universal is, though, is that hype up to, like, wanna tell your story and the hype up of, like, what's authentic to you, because right, that's what they're saying in, like, the
Yes.
whole point is, like, who are you?
Yes.
And what is
Yes.
your story and your contribution? And so,
Yes.
I'm not gonna put on, like, demon stripes and pretend to, like, co-opt something else, but it's like, it's a good call to action to be like, "But who am I? And, like,
Right.
what stories do I have that, like, I think are exciting to tell that feel like my stories to tell?" If that makes sense.
Yeah.
No,
100%.
that makes total sense. I think you can be inspired by K-pop Demon Hunters without writing a K-pop idol
Right.
romance. Like, like I said, I feel inspired, but I'm not inspired to write a K-pop idol story. I am inspired, like you said, to write like my truth
Right.
or my stories that I want to tell, and also to give people the escape that K-pop Demon Hunters gave
Yep.
me. That's that's how I look at it, and that's how I feel inspired by K-pop Demon Hunters. Not, "Oh, I wanna write a derpy
Your own
tiger
version.
ingenue
Yeah.
and my own version." I'm not inspired to do that because you know what? No one's gonna write it better than these people did.
Yeah, and I think, for me, yeah, just at the end of the day, I really am glad you touched on that too of, like, the why, because, like, look, I can do whatever it is and entertain myself, and that's good. I feel like that is good reason enough is to just entertain myself, and I do feel like since January 2025 a renewed sense of, like, how do I because it can feel hopeless, and when you live in this country, my god, like, I can't tell you, like, it doesn't feel good if you're
No.
not, like, invested in, like, the dehumanization and fascism, and so where it can become like, "What do I do?" And it's like, yes, I can do like, I can vote, I can donate, I can contact my lawmakers, but you're still like, "Fuck, like, what can I do?" And what I feel like I can do is be like connect with people and, like, the humanness of remembering that there's still, like, fun out there, that there's still life out there, that there's still and so that doesn't mean that we forget, that doesn't mean that we ignore responsibility, but it does mean that, like, it is okay to come together in different spaces and just remember that we're still human and we can still laugh, we can still have dirty jokes, we can still talk about, like, love, we can still talk about we can just have fun, and we need that even more when we're in times, I think, that are dark and hard.
Yeah, and even, with so much of what we do online, um, we can still connect online, but then we can also turn that into in real person spaces as well. Like, go to concerts
Yep.
or fan meetups or things like that and connect with people um in both online like it's okay to just be in an online
Yeah, and
fandom. That's
also just
also
being
okay.
when we say just being online, we're not saying just be online too, because here's the other thing
Yeah.
is you may be the only person in your area that you know who has thought thoughts that you do. Like I live in a place that
Yeah.
is like deep Alabama blue, right? Like, I mean, like, I'm like the opposite of whatever's happening, like in a deep red. Like, I'm in the deep blue, but I can't imagine what it would be like to like hold values that are like what's happening around me is like antithetical to like humanity. And I'm in a family, I'm in a town, I'm in a community where I don't even feel safe voicing that because I'm actually like maybe in like some level of like physical or at least like social ostracization danger and where online communities can be life-saving, I think, of just being like, I'm
Hmm.
not being gaslit every day because somebody else is like, "You know what? This is a bunch of bullshit."
Hmm. Yeah, I agree.
So look at
Thank you,
K-drama
K-pop Demon
Demon
Hunters.
Hunter fighting fascism in 2025. Not
I
ju
mean,
not just the
it was
demons.
it was what I needed. It still is what I
That's what
need.
I needed.
It's still what
It
I
is.
need.
It is.
So,
I'll be sending memes to Amy, I'm sure tomorrow. Like it doesn't stop.
no, I
It
don't
doesn't
want it to
stop.
stop. It should never stop.
I've been seeing a lot of and I've just been seeing fan art of um like Mira with Abby
Yep.
or whatever, you know what I mean? Like coupling them, and that's also just adorable.
Well, like, I
Come
love
back.
Abby and Luna.
Come back, Sasha Boys.
Come back, Sasha
Come
Boys.
back.
So,
Okay.
okay,
Well,
well, you know what? We did a monster, an hour 50.
It was a good hour 50. Thank you
Yeah.
for indulging us, Leah.
No, I don't
I
feel like it was indulging. I think it was
Okay,
useful, and I think it
good.
was good to come in because I guess I was coming in uncomfortable being like, I don't have like, because sometimes I do come in and I'm like, ooh, I have like a problem or an issue I want to unpack. And I'm like, I don't here. And I also don't feel too cool for it. And I also don't feel like it's in some way like not edified enough or something like that. Like all of that I disagree with. So I was like, so what is it that's making it so that I'm not sending memes all the time? And I think I
Right.
got my answer tonight is
Yeah.
because I'm too busy sending Yoongi finger furry memes.
Yeah, and that's also okay. I will always accept. I mean, I've been sending you AT stuff. I will always
But
accept.
I just realized like that's why it just that really
Yeah.
helped me kind of like so
Yeah.
thanks for your generosity in letting me unpack that for myself.
Yeah, that was actually really fun to unpack because I also was like, it's also fun to unpack. Well, why did it resonate
Right.
with
It
me?
helped
Like, what's
us
happening with
realize why it
me?
was so important for us
Yeah,
to
Everyone needs to
find this.
hyperfixate. Once you
Yes.
hyperfixate, the world is better.
I mean,
right.
it seriously
I love
is. Like, you know,
hyperfixating.
like so this t-shirt came in the mail yesterday and I just threw it like over my chair and I left for the Rose last night and I was saying goodbye to my daughter. I'm like, please don't laugh when you go upstairs to my room and see my Saja Boys t-shirt hanging over my chair because I love it and it makes me happy.
Yeah.
Right. Like, let me love it.
Let me love it.
And I mean, she
Yeah,
looked, she wasn't making fun, but like I was just
no, yeah.
like,
No, I saw for
and
Jin's concert, for his comeback, he is selling cans of tuna. And I don't even there's not tuna in it, but I don't know what's in that can. And I was like,
like
you
at the
know what?
merch, like at the
Yes, the
merch, you
merch
could buy a
there's a
tuna
merch
can,
and it's like a can
like
of tuna
a
with like
super tuna can.
yeah, but like who knows what's in it? It's like question
Who
marks. So
knows?
you're like, I don't even know what's in it. And I'm like, why have I spent this much brain power thinking about this can of tuna that is not a can of tuna, but looks like a can of tuna? And then I was like, well, you know what? That was mental rest that I had. I don't meditate, but like this was my mental rest that I needed before I got back to work. And, when I like read about, some horrible something, I'm like, now I'm thinking about canned tuna for a second. Thank God.
I'd
So
rather think about that.
enjoy your t-shirt and being stoked to get that little dopamine hit. My husband's reading a book on dopamine and he's been talking about how he's on this like dopamine. He's very focused on dopamine and like dopamine cleansing. We could not be living alternate realities. And he's science-based reading a science-based book that's essentially talking about like limiting social media, curbing the dopamine addiction,
No.
all this stuff. And I was like, as he was telling it to me, I'm like, oh my gosh, this like, I'm sure this is like so peer reviewed. I'm sure this is so backed. I'm like, I am I could not be living a
100%
Yeah.
the other direction.
You're like, I am on a different planet right now, and
All
I like my
want
planet.
is dopamine fix after dopamine fix after dopamine
But it was just
fix.
such a funny thing where I'm like, I was like, this is awesome. And you're gonna like get offline and do like I'm like, and I hope this fills your bucket. And the way my brain works, my brain is happy doing what it does. Like I feel like I'm in a good non-toxic place with myself.
Yeah. I mean, I think I am.
I hope he enjoys wood carving or whatever.
Yeah, it's funny because I'm looking at it right now, but I set out like my AT's outfit on
Mhm.
my chair in my office just to take a picture of it, and I was like so delighted. I like I have it like arranged. I sent it to you, Leah. I think I sent it to like my friend who I'm going to the concert with, and I was like, I even had my shoe set
No,
up.
I
Like, a
told one
certain
of
way.
our listeners who was like, I'm going to this concert. I'm like, I think Megan is too. I just introduced you both today, but I was like, she has her outfit laid out like it's the first day of school.
I love it. I love
And I
it.
love it. Like, that's awesome.
Absolutely do. I absolutely do. And my cat curled up with it. So now there's cat hair on it and I'm gonna have to wash the shirt again. But I do. I have it I'm looking at it right now and have it laid out like it's the first day of school. And I can't wait. I can't wait because that will fill my bucket. Like I know I've been to like I know what that gives me and I know I'm gonna leave there and I am going to feel so good. It'll be like watching K-pop Demon Hunters.
Mhm.
I'm just waiting for somebody at a show to cover a song from K-pop Demon Hunters.
Right. So Monsta X actually I really like Monsta X, but three of them like put on the
saw.
hat, and like the robes and they dance to Your Idol, which was amazing. There are K-pop idols who have covered Your Idol and they've covered it very well. Like I think oh gosh, one of the guys from Ace covered it and It's so good.
And
they're all doing like the soda pop dance.
Anya Sup did a free cover. He
Oh yeah,
covered free.
Yeah, and they're all doing the soda pop dance because I don't think the soda pop dance is like for an idol. I don't think is very hard.
No.
I do have to laugh because I've seen like freeze frames of them singing soda pop. Uh, the Saja boys in the movie, and like their legs bend unnaturally, and it's very funny when you see like the freeze frame. I mean, they're obviously cartoons and they're demons, so they could probably do whatever they want. Do demons have bones? I don't know.
Demon bone.
Ponder that as we sign off after this 2 hour.
Oh my God. 2 hour.
This 2 hour dopamine fest.
But you
I'm
guys
here
have
for
looked
it.
at our faces for 2 hours. You are welcome.
I know.
Yeah, but I also feel like I learned a lot about myself and each other. Like this was a fun discussion beyond just the movie. Like this was fun to talk about.
Yes.
And figure out why things resonate with us the way they do. So that was fun.
All right.
Thanks, girls. Thanks, Mira and Rumi.
Thanks,
I forget,
Zoe.
did they have a catchphrase? I forget.
Huntrix?
Yeah. I don't think they had like a catchphrase that they said. I was going to say we could sign off with that, but
No, I was going to say, like, they each have their own little things, like in songs. You know, like you've got, like, Mira's got fit check for my napalm era.
Fit check
For
for my
napalm
napalm
era.
era. Oh, I love it. I love
I
it.
look down and
All
I'm
right.
in matching athleisure wear. This is my
Mira,
napalm era.
Mira in a few years would approve.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that was really fun.
That was a lot of fun.
Ladies. So, yeah.
Thanks for listening.
Thank you.
안녕.
안녕.
감사합니다. Thank you for listening to Afternoon of Delight. Where can you find us outside the pod? Head on over to afternoonadelight.com. That's AFTERNOONADELIGHT.com. You'll find links to all our social media, our book recs, K-pop and K-skincare recs, and if you want even more Afternoon of Delight, because really who doesn't, you can join our Patreon, where you can choose the patron level that's right for you. Join in daily K-drama conversations, listen to bonus podcast episodes just for patrons, and participate in our monthly live K-drama support group via Zoom. We can't wait for you to be a part of the community. Until next time, annyeong!